Hey friends, it's Carolina, your favorite sewing and quilting YouTuber here, and it's time for another ruler of the month. These are my favorite. This is the 12th ruler of the month. That's right, a full year of a ruler of the month videos and projects. And today we are going to tackle the lazy angle ruler. I'm so excited to dive into this ruler with you. Let's get started. This is the Lazy Angle Ruler by Creative Grids. Like all Creative Grids rulers, it has that QR code that you can scan and it'll take you to their site for all kinds of details. So you don't need the sheet of paper, but having the little sheet of paper instructions that it came with is also cool. They also have all those instructions on their site, so if you lose that paper or you're just not a fan of keeping all kinds of papers, you're fine because they have all the instructions on how to use this ruler on their site. But I'm also going to walk you through a lot of it right now. Okay, so QR code, it has these non-slip grip dots that are amazing. Creative Grids puts that on all their rulers. Here it has some actual examples of different blocks that you can make using this lazy angle ruler. These ones are inversed. This one actually has a inner block and outer block and then uses uncut squares. This is just like the basic. We're gonna do this and then a little bit more today just because I feel like we should have a little fun. Okay, there's all kinds of lines on here. White lines, black lines, crazy lines, it's all fine lines. So the first thing we're gonna do is the easiest part, which is make the base of our block. And what I love about this ruler is, and I don't know if you can see it on this light fabric, is there are seam allowance lines on the top and bottom. And I can just line up that seam allowance line with my strip and I can cut to square off my end. And yes, that's a weird cutting under my arm, but I don't have to flip my fabric back and forth and it's fine. This is a 5.5 inch strip, so I'm gonna find the 5.5 inch mark on my ruler and I'm gonna line it up. And then I'm gonna use my spot on dot to be able to see those lines better. Let me move that out of the way. And I can line up this line and this line. And I can cut. And now I have the base for my block. Now I have this strip and I want to be able to keep cutting more. So all I do is I flip the ruler and check this out. They have a new set of 5.5 inch lines. So I actually have to move my spot on dots, which is fine because they've got a little bit of adhesive and they just lift up and move, super simple. I'm gonna line up with this 5.5 inch line, cut, and now I have two going the same direction. If you want your blocks to go the opposite direction, reverse, you absolutely can, and there's two ways to do that. One is that you can flip the ruler over, which is a little bit crazy. I don't love flipping over my ruler part because the grippy's on this side. So to me, the easier way is to just flip your fabric over and now you're working on the back side of your fabric. So when you cut, again, we're gonna do this 5.5 inch size. Now you have a piece that is facing the opposite direction and you're good. So that's the main body piece. We want to cut the companion part, the part that goes inside there. And we're going to do that with this smaller part of the ruler right here. Is this already squared off? I don't love the way that's squared off. So we're going to go ahead and square that off real quick. And now we're going to use this 5.5 inch mark and this line over here. So we've got 5.5 inch mark and this line over here to cut our companion piece. And you can see that companion piece fits right in here. Now we want to be able to continue because we want to cut more of these. And so you'd think, okay, I can flip it over, but you can't flip it over this way. They don't have the marks for that, but they knew that this was going to be a thing. So for this one, you actually flip it over upside down. And I did just mention that I don't love flipping rulers upside down. I can understand how with the construction of this ruler, this was the absolute best way to do this. Look what they did. They actually put on the back of the ruler the actual written marks. And so huge thumbs up that they did that there. And so now I can line that up. And so now I have my 2 mirror pieces, which is fabulous. Now, if you're cutting these pieces out of a solid like I am, it doesn't have a back or a front. If you're cutting pieces, whether it's these pieces, whether it's the A units, the B units, if you're cutting them out of a piece of fabric, well, let's use this one as an example. So it's got a back side and a front side. You don't want to cut them out of a folded out piece of fabric unless you want an equal number of left facing and right facing units. Because if you have a folded over piece of fabric and you're cutting it out of that, you'll have half your units the other direction than when you cut them, which is why I did some with the fabric wrong side up and some with the fabric right side up, depending on how many of each I needed. And that's an important thing to know with this ruler, is that it's directional. Right or left is going to depend on which way your fabric is facing, up or down. And when you have a piece of fabric folded in half that's not a solid, you will end up with mirror image pieces, and you might not want that depending on the quilt that you're making. Okay, so we have our pieces and you're going to sew them together. Here's a piece that, through the magic of quilting, I've already stitched together these 2 pieces, and we're just going to press this towards the smaller triangle. So this piece is pressed, and I pressed it towards this smaller triangle, and 4 of them would make this block right here. 8 of them plus some squares would make this block right here. If I did this with 3 different colors of fabric, it would easily make that block right there. So it's the base to make these kinds of blocks. I wanted to do something a little fun with it. I'm actually going to recut it at that 5.5 inch mark. Let me grab my spot on dots. 5.5, 5.5, 5.5. There we go. And I cut this piece off. I can use this piece, I can save it. It's a great scrap to have, but now I have this block, and notice I did that on the back. And now I get units that look like this right here when I sew. A piece on here. I get these fun V shapes that make all kinds of really cool designs, and that's what I used for this month's Ruler of the Month quilt. Be sure you head to my website. The link is in the description below for the pattern that I made to go along with the lazy angle ruler. You don't want to miss that, so go down to the description and click on that. But before you do, make sure you've given this video a thumbs up and that you've subscribed to this channel. Clearly, if this is the 12th Ruler of the Month video, there's a lot of content here that you want to subscribe to, because I have so much more fun planned for you. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and that bell so that you know as soon as I have a new video waiting here for you. Also, feel free to comment down in the comment section. I do look for those comments, and I love responding to y'all when you have questions or comments or anything going on. Go ahead and use that comment section. It's meant there just for you. Thanks so much for watching, my friends. I'll see you right here real soon.